Right, let's speak to the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, shall we? That's Richard Tice. Good to have you on the programme today. I remember interviewing you during the election where you spoke about young men in particular coming over to Reform, backing Reform, and it is borne out in the data that we've just been hearing about. What do you think it is that appeals specifically about Reform?
I think actually it's about personality, it's about conviction, it's about principle. We've got a clear view on some stuff and we tell it as it is. And I think a lot of people, they like that. They appreciate the fact and we're not waffly and wishy-washy about this stuff. We've got a view whether you like it or not. And we noticed it just in the run-up to the election. We spoke about it there. What's extraordinary is the growing sense of momentum. And when I'm stopped on the street or whatever by young people, it's so much more now than 4 or 5 months ago.
You talk about telling it like it is, the views that you're forthright on. What kind of views? Like what kind of thing?
A big thing actually is the trans debate. Our view is quite clear. There's 2 sexes, 2 genders, and that's it. And I think young men actually appreciate that. I think our views on immigration, we've got a clear view on net zero, and a clear view that all of these things impact on the quality of people's lives. And people leaving school, whether they go to university or not, they're looking around and say, wow, this doesn't look so good for me, folks. And whether it's housing costs, rental costs, the ability to get healthcare, all of these things. They look at the cost of university, they look at the interest on student interest and student loans, and just nothing really looks great. And I was at a university just 3 weeks ago, and a 20-year-old, really bright guy, he said, should I stay or should I go? And that, I thought, was deeply depressing. And I was actually very sad. I said, I can understand why you asked the question, but the fact you have to ask it is a disaster for this country.
You talked there about some of the kind of universal concerns of young people, housing, university and so on. But the thing that has struck me as well is the gender gap, right? So you are, as you say, doing very well, polling very well, specifically around young men. But only 6% of women aged between 18 and 24 say they're likely to vote for you. That's half the number compared to young men. So what do you think it is about your party that isn't appealing to young women?
Well, whatever it is, clearly we've got more work to do. And in a sense, I'm not gender specific. I just focus on, we just want to appeal to as many people as possible with clear views.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because if you want to, genuinely, if you want to overtake the Conservative Party, you kind of need to
Are you saying have I got the answer today? Look, this is all happening very quickly, very new. We're talking about weeks and months. There's a sense of momentum everywhere, which is great. And of course, we're going to keep learning, keep improving. Do
you have any theories on why it is, though?
Not yet, but...
Are you looking into it?
Of course, we just got to keep appealing to as many people as possible, because we are, believe it or not, I mean, the extraordinary thing, we're becoming mainstream. You've now got 3 political parties polling in the 20s. We're give or take 21, 22%, Labour a couple ahead, Tories a couple ahead of that. It's all within the margin of error, and it's extraordinary. It's never happened before, I don't think, in my lifetime that I can think of. And so a lot is going on, and there is a real sense of shift at a time when at all different age groups, people are feeling poorer financially and the quality of life.
You're ambitious, obviously, as a party. Do you think it is... and I'm kind of genuinely interested. Do you think it's a problem that there is this disparity between men and women, young men and young women, on their politics? Well, it does feel quite... it feels quite unusual, right?
No, I don't really. I mean, everybody's different, and that's great. Don't try and sort of divide and conquer. We just got to keep pushing on, and we'll appeal to some people, not to others. And so, no, I don't think it's a problem. I think where there's groups that we're not appealing to, I want to appeal to everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting stuff. So you were talking there about, kind of growing as a party, and you have seen some defections, of course. Tim Montgomery today. Another one
Which is really significant. Tim Montgomery is a huge, huge defection. Lifelong, very influential Conservative coming over to us, and very significantly impacted by the absolute betrayal from the immigration statistics released last week, where the ONS got their numbers wrong by a mere 250,000, give or take. And that's really significant.
Another defector, of course, was Andrea Jenkins, who we had on the programme recently as well. She said in an interview that she was offered money when she was an MP to defect to Reform, and that Lee Anderson was on record saying the same thing. Is that true? Did someone offer money to defect to Reform?
I've no idea, but the person that was suggested is not a member of Reform, doesn't donate to Reform, is not involved in Reform. Lots of people say all sorts of stuff, but they don't speak for Reform. Lots of people might like to speak for Reform. So, no, and likewise, you know, the Lee thing was actually... It was clarified in the Sunday Times, who basically got it wrong. They ran a story, they got it wrong, it was clarified, and they had to basically admit that. It was before Ben was even involved with Reform, back in 2022. Look, it's the whole thing is a complete load of nonsense.
The other thing that I do want to talk to you about as well is James McMurdock, your MP for South Basildon and East Surrey. Now, he, of course, was jailed for assault when he was 19, and I know that Nigel Farage has come out to say that, look, the vetting wasn't what it should be, right? But, you know, if you're here, you're saying you want to be taken seriously as a political party, then this is the kind of thing that matters, right? Because court documents obtained by the Times have recently shown he was jailed for kicking his girlfriend around 4 times, according to those court documents.
That I don't think is an accurate representation of what the documents do say, point number one. Point number two, we are a great Christian nation. Are you seriously saying that if someone makes a bad mistake in life, age 19, that there's no redemption, they are doomed as a sinner forever? No. The whole point of Christianity is a sense of, if you've done something wrong, you pay your price, and at the end of that sentence, whatever it is, then, in a sense, you've done your bit. You've served your punishment, whatever it is, and good luck. And isn't it actually the alternative, the opposite is true? Isn't it remarkable that an individual had a bad issue at a very young age, but has gone full circle? And doesn't it show, actually, to other young people, look, bad stuff can happen. You can make bad judgments. You can get things badly wrong. But many years later, actually, you can do really well. He had a great job and end up as a Member of Parliament. I think that's a good thing.
OK, I absolutely understand the point you're making about redemption, right? People shouldn't be written off for life. But his statement before the Times piece said, "We argued and I pushed her. She fell over and she was hurt." The court documents seen by the Times said that he kicked her. I mean, you can talk about redemption, but surely part of redemption is acknowledging what you did, being upfront about what you did, and only then can you move on and be truly sorry, right? I mean, it sounds like there is a pretty major discrepancy.
You can have a dispute about what actually happened. The bottom line is...
So what's he told... This is so important, OK? So what has James McMurdock told you that happened?
Look, my understanding is different to what the Times have reported.
So what is your understanding?
It actually doesn't matter.
No,
I wasn't there. No, I'll tell you why it doesn't, because it comes back. The law is the law. The law ruled that he had transgressed, and he was punished. He served his punishment. And
but if you're asking people to vote for you, people have the right to know what you've done in the past,
but equally,
what you've been
hang on.
jailed for.
So what you're really saying is, what you're suggesting is, well, if you did one thing, then you're a sinner for life.
Can I just know, it's really important. That's absolutely not what I'm suggesting. I'm saying that if people are voting for an MP, they have a right to know.
And we also have
that's right, isn't it?
But we also have a right.
So you do accept that? There's a transparency and a truth, and then people can make up their own minds in democracy.
The transparency is we have a right to a difference of opinion, OK? And one individual's opinion as to what happened, OK, who was there, by the way. So the Times were not there, the court documents were not there. So can I suggest that actually the individual might be closer to the truth because he was there?
What's he told you happened?
I'm not going to go into individuals. What I'm going to say is, at the end of the day, people made a decision in the courts. He served the punishment that he was given.
For what?
What
did he do?
And look, we live in a Christian nation, and we believe in redemption. You've done your bit. You've done your sentence, and you move on. And I think that's a great thing.
What did he do?
Look, at the end of the day...
Because I don't know what he's supposed to be redeemed for at the minute. What did he do?
Well, look, the court made a decision. We rely on the court judgment, right? And you can have different opinions as to what... Look, if he agrees or disagrees with that, that's one thing. At the end of the day, the court ruled, the court made a decision, and he served his time, and now he's had a great career, and I think that's a really positive sign, where you can say to someone, if you do something stupid, you do something bad, you make a terrible mistake, but actually you can come back from it. And that, I think, is a really constructive, optimistic thing.
If there's if it's a good thing, why don't you just say what he's done?
Because I wasn't there on the night and there's a disagreement about it.
Must have told you something, though. I mean, you're serving in Parliament with him,
so I'm
right?
on his side. I disagree with what else is saying.
So you don't think he kicked her, then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm trusting James. He's bang on the money. And I think that what he says is right. He was there. The court wasn't there. The Times weren't there.
Well, the victim was there as well, right?
Yeah, and they're going to have a disagreement. But at the end of the day, the law is the law. The law made a determination. Do you trust the law, right, or do you trust the Times 20 years later?
Well, the law said he was guilty.
The law, exactly, OK? Right, so the law said he was guilty, they served a sentence, and he's done his time, and he's moved on and has been incredibly successful, and I'm very proud of that.
OK, thank you very much indeed.
You.
Great to have you on the programme. Thank you.